classes. I got a crazy teacher, he wears dark glasses.
Welcome back to the Duarte Show. I'm your host, Duarte, and welcome back to episode 13 of the podcast. Recently, I went on WTIC Reese on the radio and had an interview talking about my experience as a podcaster and my thoughts on everything about Connecticut. I also had the opportunity to meet 3 candidates running for governor. I met Betsy McCaughey. I met again Erin Stewart, and my first time meeting Ryan Fazio. I will get into those candidates later. Let's talk about the main issue. The people in our state are tired of being ripped off by the same old politicians. That's why I went to the event in Madison to meet the candidates. And the same thing I heard from people that I talked to. They are tired of things being so expensive in our state. They are tired of the cost of living in our state. They are tired of the taxes. They are tired of just spending more than they're earning. Connecticut doesn't need to be a state of taxes. We have alternatives that we can do. Invest in small businesses. Invest in business in total. Invest in entrepreneurs to bring money in. Invest in investors. Invest in our own educational system to grow businessmen and women in our state. Today's episode, I will talk about the 3 candidates, my thoughts on them, on a non-biased viewpoint. And I'll also talk about my interview with WTIC. Here at the Duarte Show, I view Reese, the host of the WTIC 1080, Reese on the Radio show, Reese on the radio show. I view him as a great ally to this podcast and a great friend to me. I can't wait to continue working with him to make sure we have a better Connecticut. I hope you enjoyed this episode today on the Duarte Show, and I hope you understand the viewpoints of every candidate, no matter what party you're part of. Connecticut is a state that is in desperate need, and we're going to bring that need. So I hope you watch this episode with open hearts and open minds. And let's get today's episode. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe on YouTube and Spotify. I'll drop the links below. And if you haven't already, make sure you like this video and share this podcast to spur awareness about our state. Or if you don't live in our state, spur awareness of what's happening in the United States of America. I'm your host, CJ Duarte. This is the Duarte Show. Welcome to the home of the Youth Council Revolution. Thank you.
And they're only getting better.
Welcome back. Let's talk about our first candidate, Betsy. I met Betsy on the radio show. She called in to talk to me. But let's read her flyer. Help Betsy qualify and get on the ballot. Betsy will eliminate the state income tax, making Connecticut the tax haven of the Northeast. Cap property taxes hike at 2%. Eliminate public benefit charges, and deregulates businesses. And it has a little thing. Let's read like the first sentence of it. Connecticut Republicans should be focused on one thing: winning. That's why Betsy is our best choice. This is what it has here. I think this is talking in third person. Basically, if you don't know who Betsy McCarthy is, she is the former Republican Lieutenant Governor of New York. Then she ran against her governor, and she switched to the Democratic Party and ran against him, from sources I had read. Betsy is very nice. I met Betsy. She's very outgoing. She's a New Yorker. I'm an ex-New Yorker. But we both love our state. Betsy, I think, if she made it to the general election, I think she has a fair chance on winning. In my opinion, even though I just met her, I think she can beat Ned Lamont in November. And I mean, she has great policies. We can go through her platform another time, but she wants to do a lot of things. I know she wants to be tough on crime. She wants to um, stop people from moving out of her state by lowering taxes and capping the, as you said here, capping the um, property taxes.
and they're only getting better.
At least I think it's either between her or Erin Stewart. I think Erin Stewart and her are a good candidates. Same as Ryan Fazio, they're all good candidates. I think Betsy, in my opinion, I think all the candidates actually are able to beat Ned Lamont in November, and that's the most important thing. And it's not about oh they're too extreme. And well, we care about if they're too extreme. It's not about they they talk funny, they act weird. It's about do you have policies that actually resonate with Connecticut residents? And if you don't, why are you in the race? And it was pretty funny to see her. So she's gonna cut and stomp on any new tax that the Lamont tries to propose. I like Betsy. I think Betsy's a good candidate. The next candidate that's not running for governor, but I would want to talk about her, is Jen Tooker. Jen Tooker is running for state something with the money, I believe. Let's read her little brochure here. Jen Tooker built her career in global where protecting assets, managing risk, and planning for long term aren't optional. They're essential. And the word of success came from discipline, preparation, and to make responsible decisions today that protect tomorrow. She believes Connecticut deserves the same steady, looking forward leadership. As a Westport first select woman, Jen balanced the budget. She has no primary, by the way. I spoke to her. She's very nice, a nice woman. She does not have a primary, so no matter what, she's going to win the election. Uh, she is here to protect Connecticut for a long term financial future, and it says vote for her. Her website is here. I'm going to put all the candidates' websites down below. But I think she will do a very great job, in my opinion. That she's able to get the message out there. That's all it's all about. I told her, I know if you even though you don't have a primary, just get the message out there. Speak to voters. Have them listen to their concerns about their financial needs and get stuff done. But I want to get back to Betsy. I'm gonna play the clip of her talking.
For Connecticut. Now, that's right. I am going to fight for homeowners against Lefty Lamont's housing law. In fact, on day one as governor, that law will be a dead letter. Dead. I'm going to slow walk it, till it dies of its own inertia. And for crushing property taxes, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to suspend the state law that enforces towns to reassess your home value every 5 years. That law is unconstitutional. And I'm going to push through the state legislature a bipartisan bill that will cap the annual increase in property taxes at 2% or the rate of inflation, whichever is lower. And for the 235,600 senior households who own their own home and in less than $100,000 a year household income, paying property taxes will be in the rear view mirror. They paid enough, they shouldn't lose their homes. Home ownership is the winning issue for us. My battle plan to win this state. And this is why. 68% of Connecticut residents own their own home. 68%, that's 3 times the Republican registration in this state. Think about it. We can get so many Democratic votes and independent votes by championing home ownership. And I wrote a little poem for you. Are you ready? Owners vote red. Renters vote blue. Fight for homeowners. It'll make a winner out of you. That's right. And for the crushing electric bills, the Betsy administration will not purchase any costly offshore wind power, and there will be no public benefit charge on your electric bill. That is a felony masquerading as an electric bill. That's what it is. Now, once we lower the electric rates and lower the property taxes, prosperity will come back to our state, and that is very important to me. I grew up here in Milford and Westport. My dad was a factory worker at the W.E. Bassett nail clipper factory in Derby. We didn't have a lot, but I grew up as a kid knowing I could dream big. I was going places because Connecticut was the land of opportunity. And the day I won a scholarship to college, and my dad put that Vassar decal on the back of his old blue Dodge Dart, was the biggest day of his life. The tears rolled down his face. Mine too. But now Connecticut ranks 48th out of 50 in economic growth. And that's why I went to Hartford 3 weeks ago and announced I am eliminating the state income tax. And I can do it. You see all those yellow states? They're all going to zero. If they can do it, we can do it. That's what's going to happen. Now, one more thing. Winning. Wouldn't it be great to win again? That's right. Winning. It's so important. I have two rivals in this race for the governor's nomination, both very fine people. But this election is too important for small ideas, like taking $200 off your electric bill or offering a vague promise for something different. We have to go big to win this race. In 1994, there was another left-wing governor who wanted to be reelected, Mario Cuomo. They said he couldn't be beaten. They were going to put him on the U.S. Supreme Court. And George Pataki and I crisscrossed New York State with a map similar to this. And we whipped him in 61 out of 62 counties. And that's what I'm going to do to Ned Lamont. I'm going to beat him from one end of the state to the other. I ask for your nomination for this job. Fight, fight, fight. Axe the tax. Axe the tax. Thank you.
I think she can get the job done. She's very effective. She fought for safer hospitals. Sorry, I have her upside down. I think Betsy can actually win. And better yet, I'm going to do something I never do on my podcast. I already spoke to Ryan Fazio's team and Erin Stewart's team. Not team, but I spoke to them directly. And I asked them to come to my podcast. And I'm going to say publicly now, I invite Betsy McCaughey, Erin Stewart, and Ryan Fazio to come on my podcast for an interview, and I'll call the series Meet the Candidates. I will talk to every candidate about the same issues, affordability. Think about it as like mini interview. Each candidate will speak about their policy, speak about their background, and speak about what their plan is on day one as they get to as soon as they become governor. I already reached out to the Fazio team and Erin Stewart team. I'm going to reach out to Betsy McCaughey personally and try to see if I can get her on this podcast, because it's very important that we do. Now, the next candidate I want to get on to is Ryan Fazio. Here's a clip of him talking now.
This is a great turnout and is exactly the energy we need to turn Madison and the entire state of Connecticut red in 2026. One thing is clear to me as I travel all across this state, and it's that people are hurting in the state of Connecticut. They're suffering under the weight of the third.
Okay. After watching that clip of Fazio talking, I think if the numbers, he was giving off to my mother and me when we're talking, he supports parent choice. That's one thing. I'm just going to talk about the candidate overall as a person instead of as a candidate. Fazio is very outgoing. Not outgoing, but he's very calm and collective. Even with tough questions, he answered them. Do I think he's going to win in November if he's the nominee? Yes, of course I do. because I think people are gonna finally realize, okay, it's time for real candidates to come in, and enough of Ned Lamont. I mean, hey, apparently Ned Lamont's the governor endorsed Josh Elliott, so I think Ned Lamont's days are numbered here, really numbered actually. Um, I think it's just simple of, can our governor, you know, continue the way he's going? That's it. Fazio wants to cut taxes. He wants to lower interest rates. He wants to lower the electricity bills and hold Eversource accountable. That is something we've been asking for years. But also, all the candidates want to hold Eversource accountable. But if you look at it like this, it is time for us to have fiscal leadership and as for the governorship. And not only here in Connecticut, but also here in Waterbury. You have to realize, recently, I'm going to backtrack real quickly. Recently, my mayor, went on a mayor hour thing. And it's the same people in the room. No one different. No one different. I don't know what they were talking about because I didn't have time to watch that. Because I feel like there's more issues and bigger problems in our state than listen to our mayor talk about numbers that are just going to go right back into the parties and parties in charge pockets. The mayor himself is a good person. His policies, pretty good. But the people in charge of Waterbury has dug our city into the ground, and the people in charge of Connecticut has drove our city into a mud pile of crap. This is where Fazio and Erin Stewart and Betsy McCaughey come in. They come in and they have a plan to change Connecticut. You don't see that with the rest of the candidates, who Josh Elliott and them. Josh Elliott is more of a blue dog Democrat, challenging Ned Lamont. The next candidate I want to talk about is Erin Stewart. Let's talk about her real quickly, and let's talk about her policies that she has. She wants to cut the car tax. The blueprints are right here. She wants to cut the car tax, cut taxes, return bloated surpluses to hardworking families, bring down energy costs through expanded nuclear and natural gases. Immediately eliminate the public benefit charge. That needs to go. I am so sorry. That needs to go now. She wants to invest in our roads and bridges and water systems and energy grids to finally go back to standard, to the 21st century standard that our state has been lacking for decades. People want to invest in their state. She would do that. She creates a talent development pipeline between our public and VOTEC schools and Connecticut businesses and manufacturers. Repeal the Ned Lamont's housing bill and restore local control of zoning and home decisions. She wants to fix the educational system, update it to the 21st century standards, protect homeschooling rights of families, based on the Senate Democrats here in our state. Not the actual Democrats. They're, in my opinion, okay people. I'm not happy with our government in Washington. I'm not happy with our government here in Hartford. I think it's time for change in all departments. It's time for younger voices to be heard. That's the point of the show. It is time for us to get up, get things done. She basically wants to be tough on crime. She wants to restore money back to citizens. In my opinion, she'd be one of the best candidates that we will have going against Ned Lamont. In a recent poll, she beats him. Basically, in Waterbury, there's a poll with all the candidates named. She beats him 59 to 26. And the rest of the candidates, Fazio got 9%, I believe. Elliott got 4%. The rest got 1%. But I think these candidates are great candidates. In my opinion, if I was able to vote, I'm 16. If I was able to vote, I would vote for either Betsy McCaughey, Erin Stewart, or Ryan Fazio, whoever's the nominee. I support them. I support whoever will be the nominee for this state. It is time for our state to change. That is a declaration that I'm putting. It is time for young voices to finally get out there And let's stop focusing on what's happening, that the stuff that don't matter. Let's focus on stuff that matters. Our future matters. What is happening with all this stuff of, oh, let's get the new product from Balenciaga, or let's watch a new video on, as I mentioned, Fruit Love Island, let's watch a new AI video. Let's stop focusing on that and focusing on our future. Let's stop focusing on things that are not important. Because in 10 or 20 years, we'll be the ones paying for the cost. We'll be the ones in charge. And we will have to pick up the debt, pick up the surpluses that are left over. We'll have to pick up the dirt that the last generation and the last decades that were in charge. It is time for us to pick up that mantle and start changing. We only have about 10 years to do this. 10 years. Before we lost our hope. Before we lose all hope, we only have 10 years. We need to start organizing, getting out there, getting opinions and policies out there. Because in our state, we can be the biggest powerhouse in America. I mentioned on the podcast, radio show with Reese, Waterbury can beat Hartford and can beat New Haven in so many categories. You don't know why? You want to know why? We have the materials to do it. It's just the people in charge are too lazy to execute the plan. It's that simple. That simple. It is time for us to get out there, organize, talk to voters, get them to listen to your opinion as a young person. Don't let anyone tell you that you can't do something because it was never done before. That is a quote from former Vice President Kamala Harris. And I'm going to use that quote from now on. You don't know why? Because they said it was impossible for young people to spread awareness. Young people, by the way. They said that. Now, guess what? I have gotten permission by the Fazio and Erin Stewart campaign. Not campaign, but themselves. To email their campaign manager. To email them. To finally get them on my show, for them to voice their opinion on Connecticut and list their policies. And again, I'm going to reiterate everything I said. I invite Betsy McCaughey, Erin Stewart, Ryan Fazio to come on the show, talk about your policies, talk about Connecticut, talk about the issues that face our state. Because trust me, if we have Ned Lamont for another 4 years, our state is not going to make it. That's simple. Now, here's a clip of Erin Stewart talking. Then we'll switch over to talk about the WTIC Reese on the Radio interview.
My name's Erin Stewart, and I'm going to beat Ned Lamont in November. I'm going to tell you how, and I'm going to tell you why. We have to have a little bit more confidence in ourselves. Let's start that again. We're going to beat Ned Lamont in November. Yeah. This starts with building confidence within ourselves that something's got to change, something has to give. We have to do something differently, and we are going to kick Ned Lamont to the curb. 8 years.
After listening to all the candidates, I have finally realized that our state is really desperate for change. And it's honestly time for us to change. And now we're going to change into another segment. I'm going to talk about my interview with WTIC's 1080's very own Reese on the radio. And I'll play a clip from the podcast right now, from the radio show right now.
On News Talk 1080 WTIC.
All right, we are here finally for the moment that I've been really, really excited for. With us in the house is TJ Duarte, hanging out. It's really, really, for me, this is great to have you here because, again, like I keep saying, you are young. You were in this broadcasting thing. I listened to this radio station called Z100 when I was a kid, and Mr. Leonard, you know nothing about them. But when I heard these guys.
Okay. So I just want to talk about this interview real quickly, and we'll end the podcast here. This episode, here. I went on Reese the Radio thinking we're not going to get any traction, because I'm young and no people really won't listen to young voices. Then it's like an domino effect, in my opinion. Um, he gets a message from State Representative Irene Haynes saying she invites me, my campaign manager Emmanuel Noble, and Aiden, my friend Aiden, to the state capitol. And then after that, he gets a call from Betsy McCaughey. If you guys don't remember who that is, we spoke about her a few minutes ago. I'll show you a picture of her. Then after that, I get invited to go to talk to a school. I want to thank Reese for this opportunity. I want to thank WTIC 1080, but I especially want to thank Reese. And he's a great ally of the Duarte Show and a great friend of mine now. And I think great things are going to come from the future of this podcast and also to radio. He's right. We need to start pulling youth back into politics, because there's too much going on, and we're ready to take charge. And it's time for us to understand the challenges that we face, and it's time for us to understand that things are not going to be handed to us, because things as it is right now are not looking well for us here in Connecticut. I just want to say one more thing. I would love for you to tune in to the Reese on the radio every weekday from Monday to Friday from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. I believe he ends. Yeah, 6 p.m. he ends. And I want you to tune in, listen, because he talks about things that the mainstream media is too afraid to talk about. They're too afraid to talk about, and he's the only one doing it. We are like-minded people, and it's time for us to realize, it's time for us to wake up, think about the future of our state, because we both love our state. We all love our state. You love your state if you're from Connecticut. You love it. And we have to realize the outcome of everything that's happening. It needs to change, and it's time for something different. And let's try something different. I hope you enjoyed today's episode on the podcast. I was your host, Duarte, and I hope to see you on the bright side. Thank you.